This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by super featherweight. I guess you guys call it junior lightweight, George Acosta. How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready, excited for this upcoming fight. You know, it's been a long time, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so it's next week, Friday, the 22nd of July. You're headlining the Thompson boxing card. You were supposed to fight in June, got cancelled at relatively short notice, but now you're top of the bill. You must be pretty happy about the change, as it turns out.
Yeah, I was, like you said, I was supposed to fight in June. I already forgot the date. I was supposed to fight in June. Fight got canceled 2 days before. But yeah, I mean, they moved me. They promised that I'll be the main event. So I mean, I'm excited. You know, my last fight, I was the main event on Telemundo. Now I'm a main event over here locally. So you know, I have my people. I have my people that are going to be here supporting, and yeah, I'm very excited for this opportunity. Yep.
What happened in June? What was the issue?
So my opponent, we had everything scheduled. We had our contracts and everything was set. But you know, standard procedure when you're a boxer, you need to do medicals, and he wasn't. Something came up with one of his medicals where he didn't get cleared. So that's why they didn't allow him to fight here in California. And I mean, I know California and a couple other states are very strict, which it should be, because, you know, boxing itself it's a dangerous sport. So they should take every precautions for the fighter's health. But yeah, he didn't pass the medicals. So the fight got canceled and we couldn't find an opponent because it was so close to the fight. You know, my fight was scheduled for Friday. He didn't get cleared, so they canceled the fight on Wednesday, and it was tough to find a replacement opponent. So now they pushed it back to July, or you know, this upcoming Friday. So that's what happened the last fight.
And now it's Isaac Avelar in the opposite corner. What can you tell us about him and what sort of challenge he poses?
Yeah, so my next my opponent is Isaac Avelar. Tough fighter. He's southpaw. This will be my first official southpaw that I faced in my professional career. But it's not anything that I'm not aware of. You know, leading up to my last fight, actually, I was also supposed to face a southpaw. So I had a lot of rounds with southpaws, good amateurs, good pros. I was working with Jamal Herring, who's also a southpaw. So I got a lot of experience moving around with southpaws. Isaac, you know, he's a solid fighter. He has fought at a lighter weight at 126, but he started his career at 130. So I'm guessing it's more of his natural weight. And the losses that he's had have been against very tough opposition. You know, he lost against Stephen Fulton, but look at Stephen Fulton where he's at now. You know, that's nothing to discredit. And he also fought for the WBA interim feather title, so that speaks highly of his career, you know. So I'm expecting him to just bring the best out of me. You know, he's, again, like I said, he's a southpaw. He's strong. He's got a good right hook. So I'm expecting him to really bring the action and push me, make me work, and showcase my skills.
Now, you started your professional career at a different weight class also. You were up at 135. What was it that prompted you to move down?
Yeah, so I did start my career at 135. And I think that's because, I mean, I took a break from boxing and I got up pretty heavy. I went up to like 170 something.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took a whole year before returning back to just, you know, get back in shape, get my rounds in, lose weight. So initially it was like, all right, I'm gonna come back and fight at 140. But then I had my pro debut scheduled at 137. And then I came in at like 135. Anyway, throughout the years in my career, I just started dialing in with my nutrition and my training, and I started to understand my body a little bit more. And now I 130, I feel it's the right weight I should be fighting at. I'm not struggling to make 130. You know, my last fight was my official 130 pound fight, and I came in at like 128.5 or something. And I didn't have to do any water cut. I didn't have to do no sauna, nothing. All I did was walk the last week leading up to the fight. So I felt good at 130. So yeah, I just over the years understanding my body and how I feel has led me to fight at 130 pounds.
Is that kind of dangerous in a way, though, that you've made it fairly comfortably? You were coming under the limit. You might be thinking 126, could be possible. What a size advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we do joke around. I wouldn't. I mean, I could. If I really wanted to. I can make 126. But I don't think it would. I wouldn't want to risk, potentially my health to get under there, unless it was like a great opportunity, a life-changing opportunity. That's something that I'm open to, going down to 126. But I really, it's not something that I'm aiming for. I'm good at 130. I know I can make 126, but there's no reason to really push and try to have a huge weight advantage. If I feel better at 130 than I would at 126, why not just fight at 130? Now,
you've only got one defeat on your pro record against Ruben Torres. He's still at 135. How much of a factor, if at all, was that size difference in the defeat?
Yeah, Ruben's a big 135er. He's a really big 135er. But as far as the size, I didn't feel that was too much of an issue. I think, simply put, he just had a better game plan. I think he was, just better prepared for that fight. And the thing is, we know, me and Ruben, we used to train together when we were young. We grew up. We went to national tournaments together. We went out of state together. We sparred several rounds. And it's funny because amateur, I was always bigger than him until we turned pro. Then he was. Then everything switched. Then he became the bigger fighter. But as far as the size advantage, I don't think it was that big of an issue for this fight or for that fight. I think it was just, he was just a better fighter that night.
This is the first time we've had you on the channel, so it'd be good to get an idea of the backstory. So how you first got into the sport, what drove you to it, how old were you?
Yeah, so I mean, growing up, I played every sport: soccer, basketball, baseball. I played pretty much every sport, karate, martial arts. I did every sport. My parents were really, they were pushing me to play sports just because they're fans themselves. But I went to Mexico, Los Mochis, Sinaloa, where my family's from, and I went to go visit. And at the time, my uncle was a professional boxer. And there's a lot of great boxers coming from Los Mochis. There's, every other kid is a boxer over there. So he took me to the gym, and as soon as I walked in, I'm like, this is what I want to do. So I was 9 years old. Wow. So I went to the gym. I trained. I hit the mitts with one of the coaches there. The bags were all torn up. It smelled disgusting in there, but I don't know. I loved it. So that came back over here. I came back home after visiting my family, and I told my parents that, hey, I want to do boxing. So they signed me up for the Youth Activity League at the Sheriff's Academy here in Whittier. And I joined there, met my coach, Jeff Lowtree, and I've been there ever since. So since I was 9, I joined boxing, and I haven't turned back since.
Can you kind of pinpoint now what it was about boxing that stood out for you from the other sports? Because like you said, you just love being in the gym straight away.
Yeah, I think a number of things. One, it's an individual sport, so everything primarily relies on the athlete, opposed to a team sport where you can rely on others to carry you. And I mean, don't get me wrong, for boxing, even though it's an individual sport, you still need a solid team behind you, but it does play a big role where it's like, hey, if something messes up, it's on you. But then the longer I did it, I found I got better at it. It sparked my interest even more. And then as I got older, I realized that I was really drawn to it because it's like the biggest puzzle that you can think of. Like, there's so many variables in boxing that it can change any fight. Like, even if you're a better fighter one day, it doesn't necessarily mean that someone less of a technical fighter can't beat you. Like, there's a lot of variables that play into it. And I think that's what really draws me into the sport, where it's like, it's not about strength, it's not about speed, it's not about power, it's not about technique sometimes, because you see fighters that don't have that great technique, but hey, they become world champions sometimes, you know? So I think just trying to solve, even though I'm never going to, trying to solve the puzzle of boxing is what keeps me so, like, every day I want to learn more. I want to learn more, no matter who it is, who's on the other corner, who I'm sparring. Like, hey, I've never seen that move before, or I didn't know you can grab my hand that way. I didn't even know you stepped on my foot. Like, little small details that really just draw me into the sport.
Who, apart from members of your own family, who were kind of your boxing idols growing up? Who you influenced by?
I mean, my number one has always been Miguel Cotto. You know, I think that was the first. Well, originally it was Oscar de la Hoya, where I'm like, oh, you know, he's Mexican American. His parents are from Mexico. Like, he's from East LA. I'm like, okay, I have a similar story. But then once I understood the sport a little bit more, I think Miguel Cotto was someone that I really idolized, and I'm like, you know, I like his character outside of boxing. I love his technique, his skill, his power, the way he carries himself in and out of the ring. So that was someone that I really looked up to growing up. And then the more I got involved in the sport, then I had, you know, other fighters that I'll pick and choose, like, things that I like about them. You know, defense, Mayweather, footwork, Lomachenko, a bunch of other fighters that I really just starting to kind of learn a lot from just by watching them.
You mentioned that in your camp for the last fight, you worked with Jamel Herring, former world champion, of course. What other kind of notable names have you had the opportunity to spar so far?
Yeah, so I sparred former world champion Lee Selby. Plenty of rounds with him. He would go to Maywood when he would come to the States. I spar with him. Mauricio Herrera, John Molina, Saul Rodriguez. Who else have I sparred? Hobson, 130 pounder. I think he fought Oscar Valdez not too long ago, the Brazilian. I don't know. There's a lot of fighters that are really, like, world class and high level that I've sparred. I'd have to kind of go back and try to remember who exactly.
At this stage of your career, how much are you learning in the ring in competitive fights in comparison to sparring? Because you're obviously taking on a higher level of opposition in sparring, but it's not a real fight.
Right. I think the biggest, I mean, most of what I'm learning is in training and sparring, but I think from the fights I go back and really just look at what needs to be changed, right? What are small things that I need to make? And I honestly, the biggest thing is, yeah, I'll perform high in the gym, but I feel like I have yet to perform at my standard when I fight. Like, I think my fights are not a representation of my skill and all my hard work that I've put in the sport. And it could be something that I need to overcome, more of a mental. It could be more of a mental thing, that there's a mental roadblock when I fight or something. But I really feel over the years I've progressed little by little, where I'm knocking at the door. You know, I'm banging at the door. I feel like I'm gonna have my breakthrough performance, and I'm gonna be like, oh, it clicked. That's what I need to do. You get me? So yeah, as far as learning, most of it has been through sparring.
So in terms of progressing, what is kind of your next couple of years plan? Like, how are you going to get to those top 10 world rankings? How are you going to get, you know, with no disrespect to Thompson Boxing, but like a major TV promoter as well?
Yeah, you know what? All I can do is whatever's in front of me. So I just have to trust my management. I have to trust my promoters. I just have to do my job, which is, you know, stay in the gym, train hard, and just try to learn as much as I can. You know, be prepared. Be prepared when opportunity comes, because I mean, now you just never know. You know, you never know where a fight might fall through and they need a replacement fighter or something. But as far as my next 3-4 years to climb the ranks, I think all I have to do is just stay active. I want to be active. You know, I want to fight. I want to fight more now that I understand my body, and I know what my limits are, or my current limits are. I'm willing to, you know, really push on the gas pedal and try to push myself physically, mentally, just be 100% all in. And I feel like it's going to take me far away. It's going to take me far in this sport. And so I just have to do my training, do my part, trust in my team, trust in my managers, trust in my promoter, and they'll guide me through the right steps. As long as I'm doing my job, it will be all right.
And your nickname, which we can see obviously on the apparel you're wearing right now, where does that come from? What does it mean? Who gave it to you?
Yeah, so it says El Yuyu. That's my nickname. My sister, when she was older sister, she's 1 year older. But when we were younger, she couldn't say my name, so she would just say Yuyu, and that's it. From there, my mom started calling me Yuyu, and then the whole family. So I feel more people know me by Yuyu than they know me by George. So that, you know, family nickname, it just stuck. And yeah, like growing up, I thought like, oh, what should be my nickname? What should be my nickname? And I'm like, hey, stick with a family nickname, Yuyu. That's a great one. Yeah.
Good stuff. And talking of family, what's your life like outside of the ring and outside of the gym? Do you know, have you got your own place? Do you live with your parents? What sort of stuff do you do when you're not training?
Yeah, so I still live with my parents. Outside of boxing, I mean, pretty much my whole life is boxing one way or another, because either I'm training, you know, a couple hours a day, doing the strength conditioning, and then either I'm coaching boxing. So that's kind of my side, I guess, side hustle. I coach boxing, but then I also like to make videos on YouTube where I share tips on anything to do with boxing nutrition, boxing exercises, working out. And actually, I'm going back to school back in August. I'm going back, and I really enjoyed nutrition. So when I'm not coaching, when I'm not boxing, when I'm not training, I'm reading about nutrition or exercise science. So that's something I'm really passionate about too, along with boxing. So that's pretty much what I do. I try to learn as much as I can about everything that I can, so I can be you know, keeps the mind sharp too. You know, never be complacent.
With that in mind, before I let you go, tell everybody how they can find you on the different social media platforms, and obviously your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel, you guys can just search in El Yuyu Boxing or George Acosta Boxing, and it should pop up there. Instagram, you can follow me at George Acosta 562. I'm starting to be a little bit more active on Twitter, El Yuyu Boxing, and that's pretty much it. Those are my social media handles that I'm more active on.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely give it a watch. We've been looking to add more kind of nutrition and instructional content on our channel, so it'll be interesting. I'll probably steal a lot of your ideas. I hope you don't mind.
There you go. Yeah, of course. Hey, that's how we do. That's how we learn. We got to steal a little bit from everyone. You get me?
Yeah, well, I'm going to start with you, but yeah, I'm sure I'll get to everyone eventually. No, really appreciate your time. Very best of luck for the fight. And hopefully, will there be a way, do you know, of people watching it? I know it's on TV locally, but beyond that, globally, perhaps, is there social media or?
Yeah, so it will be live stream. If I will be live stream on Thompson Boxing Facebook and YouTube, but I think we're talking about promoting it or streaming it through my YouTube channel as well.
Oh, awesome.
So people will be able to go through to my YouTube channel and be able to watch the entire card on my channel. So yeah, that's one way everyone, you know, globally can watch the fight.
Brilliant. All right, great. Well, we'll look forward to that. And yeah, let's catch up again after the fight.
Absolutely. Thank you.